maps that will change the way you see the world. This is the largest volcano in our solar system compared to the state of Arizona. These are the United States counties where at least one Chinatown has existed at some point in time. Green means currently and red means formerly. This shows the wolf distribution across Italy between 1900 and 2020. It dipped down in 1973 but has come back strong ever since. This shows the percentage of how much each state contributes to the United States GDP. These are the areas where the highest rates of malaria exist. This is a map of the sound levels across the United States. Every red dot across this map is a place named Victoria. The blue states have lower crime than 30 years ago, and the red states have higher crime than 30 years ago. This is a modern take on one of the first maps of the world. This shows where you have the right to change legal gender in Europe. Dark blue is where you can change your gender with no surgery. You also can in the light blue, but surgery is required. Anywhere yellow is where you cannot. Blue countries have the longest life expectancy, and red countries have the shortest life expectancy. This shows the total average lightning density in the United States between 2015 and 2019. This is a map of still inhabited cities that are older than the United States inside of the United States. This is a very cool representation of where all the airports, seaports, and cities are around the world. Only 6% of the Chinese population lives on the west side of China. There are more people living inside this circle than outside of it. Interstates in the US are in numerical order. The routes with even numbers run east and west, while the odd numbers run north and south. This is what the greater Tokyo area looks like in comparison in size to the greater London area. This is the Mississippi River, including all of the rivers and streams that water flows from. The easternmost point of Brazil is actually closer to Africa than the westernmost point of Brazil. Also, Brazil's northernmost part is closer to every country in the Americas than it is to the southernmost part of Brazil. This would be the world map if it was centered on Antarctica. The entirety of continental South America is east of Michigan. Only 2% of the Australian population lives within the yellow area. This is a map of what Pangaea would look like with current international borders. The countries in blue drive on the left side of the road, and the countries in red drive on the right side. This map shows how many metal bands there are per million people throughout Europe in 2016. The deforestation differences between Belize and Guatemala create a straight line down their border visible from space. This shows the paid maternity leave for new mothers all around the world. When you turn the Americas on its side, it looks like a duck. Melbourne, Australia is closer to Antarctica than to Darwin. Ireland extends further north than Northern Ireland. Virginia also extends further west than West Virginia. These are the locations of every city founded by the Roman Empire. Every state in blue has a lower GDP than the San Francisco Bay Area. This is a population density spike chart of the entire world. This is a map of the entire internet in 1969. This map shows which countries are across the ocean from each other. I would pause and read this one. More people live in Bangladesh than in Russia. Japan is further north, south, east, and west than Korea. The countries in red were not invited to the Queen's funeral. This is the longest straight line that you can walk without hitting the ocean. These are the most oddly named towns in each US state. More than 90% of the world's tornadoes happen in the United States. The red areas shown here contain half of the entire Australian population. This is what the Mediterranean Sea would look like if it was in the United States. This shows how big Indonesia actually is compared to the United States. A shark fitted with a GPS tracker drew a picture of a shark in the Atlantic. The red areas show where lions have existed in history, and the blue area is where lions exist today. Anything in the red section is closer to Texas than the opposite sides of Texas are to each other. This shows the median age by continent. Europe has the highest with 42, and Africa has the lowest with 19. The topography map of Sri Lanka looks like an avocado. Any county with a color in it is in the top 50 most drunk counties in the United States. This map shows the legal status of homosexuality in the world in 2022. This is a map of beavers in Europe over 100 years ago, and this map shows beavers in Europe today. It is perfectly legal for a landlord in any of these red states to refuse to rent to someone for being gay or transgender. The top map shows the most popular internet browsers in 2012, and the bottom map shows the most popular browsers now. Without touching a single piece of land, it is possible to sail from India to the USA in a completely straight line. This is a worldwide breakdown of all of the known billionaires across the world. Follow for more.